Hello, hello, everybody. Let's see if anybody comes on. It's been too long, too long, too long. Today I'm talking about life is choice. So I'm just going to wait to see who joins us today and go into this whole idea about life being about choice. So it's August. Is it August 12th? Is it the 12th? Yep, 2025. And so last year, this time I had done a video every single day. And this year I have not been doing them every day. Hello, Eric. How are you? How are you? How is life? It's just you and I right now, Eric. So it's summer. I just got back from a vacation. It's my first time flying since COVID. Hey, Oliver. Good to see you. And had a great trip, but it was exhausting. Great trip. Great trip. So now I'm back, getting in the flow of things. And when I came back, I had decided I wanted to start doing lives again. But I was like, what do I want to talk about? How often do I want to do lives? And going back and forth. I enjoyed it so much last time, but it's just to do it every day is a lot. Every day can be a lot, as with anything. I'm glad to hear you're doing good, Eric. Glad to hear that. Good for you. What's new and exciting here? Just got back from a vacation. We went to Italy for about 2 weeks, and basically walked a lot, ate a lot, and enjoyed every piece of different food that you could imagine Italy has to offer. That was my second time being in Italy, but it felt like my first time because I'm so different than I was the first time I went. So we change. As we change, what we see changes. So we shall see. And that's really what I want to talk about today, about making choices and about life being about choice. So just going to wait a few more minutes here and see who joins us. Hello, everybody's jumping on, passing through, scrolling, whatever you're doing. Welcome. I'm Kiannaa from Being in Sync. I come on here and do these lives as I feel drawn to talk about a particular topic. And I'm obviously, I'm not an influencer of any kind other than to influence people to be their best selves. Yeah, that's what this channel is about. So we don't have hundreds of thousands of followers because I'm not selling, I'm not pitching, I'm not doing anything. I'm just chatting with you all. That's one thing I love about this is that, you know, if you're interested in a session, you come, but you don't have to. You get what you need always. Whatever you're ready for. And often what you need is going to be determined by your willingness to choose differently than what would have chosen in the past. So I was just going to wait until about the 5-minute mark before I go into the topic. Life is choice. Because how we choose determines our potentials. And a lot of times people tend to choose based on the past. And, you know, that doesn't always have to be the case. But it tends to often be the case. So choices can be done differently when you are accessing higher levels of consciousness, when you're really just actually being present in the moment and fully connected to your body. So what does that mean? I think that means how connected can you be to your heart? And if you are in pure connection to your heart, you release your attachments to ideas, thoughts, belief systems that direct so many of your choices. So I wanted to talk about a couple different ways in which our decision making, our choosing directs our life, because our life really is about one continuum choice after another. And oftentimes what I found is that people are focused so much on the choices that they made in the past, or maybe mistakes, or even perceived wasted time. So today, even on LinkedIn, somebody posted on my comment on one of my posts there and said that he feels like he wasted his life. And we were going back and forth. Hello, welcome. We were going back and forth about, well, is it a waste if what you're using from your past in the present moment is being appreciated and valued? Does that make the past worthy? Yeah, it does. But if you're focused on that the past is a waste, well, then that perception is what's going to be fueled, and that could drive your choices. But if you see that your choices are always being in the present moment. And I think that personally, if you have learned from your past, then it's not wasted at all. If you're learning, it's not wasted. I am doing good. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. So I wanted to talk about some choices that are hitting people hard these days, which is death, dying, transition, or illness. And I know those aren't joyful things to talk about, but I wanted to talk about that because it's something that's happening in our environment. People are getting sick, people are dying, people are transitioning, and that often strikes people as a challenging time in their life. So keeping in mind today's topic is life is about choice. And every moment you have an opportunity to choose to move forward differently. And that happens when you are being conscious. So let's just say you're struggling with a death. That could be a death of an animal, a dog, a close friend, a family member. And how you choose to grieve really can change. Hey, Nick, so good to see you. Hello, friend. Good to see you. I actually hoped, Mick, that you would be here, and Eric, and that I'd be able to. Hey, Mike. Oh my gosh, it's good to see you guys. I love it. Well, thanks for being back. So sorry, I got interrupted by my excitement to see you all here. Yay. So as we're going through these challenging life events where animals, friends, family members might die or pass on or transition, I really like to see these things as an opportunity. That's how I choose to see them. Even when they hit close at home, I always try to look at these situations as a gift, because if you're having an experience in life, and you are an experiencer of life, right? So it's your life, it's your experience. You could choose to look at everything that you're experiencing as an opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve. And although death and dying can be really sad, and oftentimes people are getting stuck in those lower density emotions like sadness and grief, and even despair, or could be depression, because people are often grieving their old selves and also their transitions of jobs. So death can be an opportunity to really, what do you think death is? And really challenge some of your ideas and beliefs about death, but more importantly, challenge how you're going to do it. So, for example, when my mother passed away, I had another girlfriend whose father had just passed away. So we were commiserating in the process of the death and dying and what's going on with your friends, and how things could be done with your family, and dramas that go on. The cleanup of somebody's life can be, if you're responsible for it, can be quite challenging. And so in our discussion, my friend decided, part of her culture was to basically give it a year to, I'm going to finish this story and then I'm going to check the comments, okay? She wanted to give herself a year to grieve her parent. And I thought, oh my gosh, a year to grieve, that seemed like depression to me. And I was like, I said, that's quite interesting, because I consciously am choosing to grieve differently than what I've witnessed other people do. So my grandmother had died, my father had died, and then my mother had died. So I've lost a lot of close family members, but I really didn't want to do the grief process the same way I had done it in the past, because it was really hard. And I thought it could be done differently. And indeed, that decision completely altered my life. And that's how important your life choices are. When you take a moment to distill for yourself, like, I don't want to do this the way I've done it in the past. That decision, that choice, changes all the potentials that you can have in your life. It's like not even a fork in a road. It just like opens things up. Because as you can imagine, when you're choosing to grieve for like a year, maybe that's your culture and that's what your culture says you need to do, you lose aspects of your potentials because that grief process is so heavy and so dense. And it's a mourning, and it's a shift of life force frequency, and that's a choice. And so she made that choice, and I made a different choice. And in the choosing of our choices to grieve differently, our relationship pretty much ended, because I was choosing to grieve differently, grieve death differently. We no longer resonated. You see, we no longer could commiserate and be woe is me about life, because one of us was living life fully and one of us was choosing to focus on something else. I can't tell you what she was focusing on, because we stopped communicating after that, because I was really challenging my belief systems about death and dying. And I was really challenging how I wanted to move forward. What is it that I wanted to experience differently about death and dying? And because I chose to do that, I had a totally different experience from her and even from myself. And from that point forward, I've never met anybody else who everybody grieves differently. But my choice is always to be in honor of the life. And really, life is about choices. So if you take that little quote in this title of this video, life is about choices. How are you choosing to live? Because my perception of death is probably quite different than many of you, and it doesn't make mine right or wrong, or yours right or wrong. It's just different. But behind our choices is belief systems. But when we're in the present moment and we're choosing to follow our heart, that changes how the quality of choices that you have available to you. So that's story number one that I wanted to talk about life is choice, is about how we approach death and dying. Because death and dying, from my perspective, is just a shift in perception, a shift in the reality, a shift in the veil in which we are experiencing those who we have come to know in the physical. And although we might love them deeply, it doesn't mean we have to be tethered to what they were in the past, in our mind, in our memory, because they are perhaps on a different trajectory. and can't stay on this planet. So I don't want to go into really my beliefs about death and dying, because that's neither here nor there. But the choice to grieve differently is, I'm offering it as an invitation to all of you, that we get to invite ourselves to see the gifts in transition, and choosing to honor those, not with grief, but with life. Choose to honor those in a way that's meaningful and heartfelt, getting all your lessons that you need to learn from that relationship, from that spirit. It is really fulfilling instead of depressing. However, that's a choice, right? That's a choice to look at things differently every single day. Okay, so before I go into the next topic, hello, Marjorie, it's good to see you. Oh, I missed you all. Okay, so I'm just going to check real quick. Jose, the G, is asking questions. Anna. Oh gosh, here we go with the name again. Here, I screw up the names all the time, you guys. I'm sorry. It's just good to see you. Let's see. As they say, pressure creates diamonds. You know what? Pressure does create so many things. But what is in pressure, really? Is pressure something that we put on ourselves, Mike? Or is pressure something that we feel from the collective? Is pressure obligation? Is it something from the outside in, or is it inside out? Because really, change doesn't have to be pressure filled. But when we're attached to things being a particular way, we can feel pressure. And the pressure might be being too much in our head, thinking too much about what others are going to think about us for doing something differently. I mean, my whole life has been that, so. Whatever. Let's see. Unknown is saying, to realize the stage that you have to be clear in your mind. You came in the world and you will go out alone. Well, that's also a perception. I don't believe that we're ever alone, although I can see when we're separate from our hearts, from when we're feeling really separate from our spirit, and oftentimes people are separate from their spirit in perception, and they're operating, they're on independent ops, if you will, they struggle for sure. And it feels very lonely and alone. But you got to like your own company. And that reminds me, I remember when I was a waitress, when I was 15 and 16 years old, and I would see these people come in, and they would eat with each other, but not commune with one another, which I thought was interesting. And I thought, I really need to be able to eat by myself. I need to enjoy my own company. Turns out I really enjoy my own company. I enjoy communing with spirit. I enjoy being in prayer. I enjoy asking questions and having them answered. I just really enjoy peace. And oftentimes with death, there is a disruption in peace with people who are not at peace within themselves. So, let me see. Death gives life meaning. Death is just a transition. So the meaning is always going to be by the individual. So we all have our own unique perspectives in which we look at things. So death, it could mean something to you. It could mean that it gives life meaning. But I think life has a lot of meaning as it is. I mean, we are here to really live fully. And are you on purpose? Are you following your heart? Are you in alignment with your spirit? Are you in alignment with God, however you perceive that to be? Somebody's saying here, death just frees the soul from the body. That the soul is wearing for a while. What if that this identity is just, the soul has more identities than the one that's in this body. So what if it's just an aspect of perception shifts? Marjorie, great to see you here. Good to see you. I missed you all. So the next topic in life is choice. I wanted to talk about choosing to let go of allowing your past to anchor you. So for holding on to things that bring you down, if you will. You can make a conscious choice in the present moment to move forward. But if you're going to choose to move forward and you're still tethered to that anger or that emotion that was not processed from whatever happened in the past, then are you really choosing to move forward? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think when you think about life is choice, let's just say you had a horrible divorce or a breakup, which is another death, by the way. How do you want to honor that relationship so you can put it to bed? One of the things that I like to offer people who ask, which you didn't ask, but I'm going to offer it anyway, is did you get all your lessons from that? Number one. Number two, what needs to be done for you to feel complete with that relationship, with that situation? Like, ask yourself these questions. What does your heart need to feel complete with a betrayal, for example? What does your heart need from you? Because you're not looking outside of yourself to heal. All your healing is occurring from within. So it's you answering the questions for you. So what is it my heart needs to heal from betrayal, from death, from this relationship, from the situation? Asking yourself those questions, but then answering them. Like, what is it that you need to move on? Because if you make a choice to move on and you're just dragging all the minutia with you, what's the point? What is the point? That's just choosing to suffer repeatedly. And there are a lot of people that choose to suffer in life, myself included. There was a time in my life that I would really get stuck in wanting to understand why and how could people be the way they were, because they were so mean and hateful and all these things. And I would get stuck in my mind about, well, how could she? Why would she? What? Like, in my mind, it couldn't make any sense. And you can't make sense of nonsense, okay? So trying to understand why people do what they do is none of your business. But what is your business is why you resonate with people that are hateful, why you resonate with people who would be betraying you. How, if you're resonating with people who are negative, that's a resonance. You're vibing with that. So if you're going to vibe with that, I say get all your lessons so you can vibrate out of it, because otherwise you're choosing the same type of friends over and over and over again. And I had such a situation that I really didn't have very many friends. I still don't have a lot of friends. I have people I'm friendly with, all of you, but I don't have a lot of close, intimate friends. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, I missed you too, Eric. There is no future without the past. What is your view on that? Well, the past is only perceived from the now moment, right? And I would say that much of our past has been mind wiped. So we don't necessarily have all the information to perceive things accurately. So we're perceiving our past through a distorted lens. And much of what's happened in the past in this lifetime could be from aspects of the soul that have been misaligned or stolen or whatever you might perceive it to be. So my view is that the past is an opportunity in the present moment to heal. And not all of it needs healing. Some of it just needs to be not understood. I don't like that word. Past needs to be witnessed, acknowledged, viewed from the lens of an open heart. So I do think, much of our traumas, our past, as we see it, is viewed through the trauma, right? So if we don't take time to heal the trauma with our hearts, then that kind of gets dragged with us. And a lot of us come into this life to heal a lot of things that we have no idea about because we can't perceive it necessarily, which is why it's good to work in the spiritual realm, because you're seeing beyond this physical realm, right? You're seeing beyond the veil, if you will. So that's what I think about the past. But I think I want to go back to, when we have been betrayed, it's our choice to continue to carry that wound of betrayal, or do we want to heal it? Because if we're healing it, that means we let it go. If we're going to carry it with us, we don't. So some people might say, I really wanted to, I needed to relearn trust in myself because the betrayal was so deep. But it wasn't from just this lifetime of betrayal. It's like a whole lifetime of family betrayal that needed to be addressed. That, in my small mind at the time, I couldn't perceive that the betrayal was bigger than that situation. But it was really much far greater than I could have imagined at that time. And again, this is hindsight looking back. So our choice to be in the present moment is what is going to open up other potentials for us, in my opinion. And choosing life means really choosing life. And I'm going to share a personal story that happened. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I'm going to share a personal story that happened. Somebody's asking, how can you define anyone or any relationship won't last any longer? Well, sometimes when we define it is when it changes anyways. And sometimes in the definition or the labeling of the title, it creates the distortion already because our language is so dysfunctional, right? Anyway, so this story is, I was driving the other day. So one of the things that I've done for a long time, I think I did this for 2 years. This was probably when I was in my mid-20s, I'm going to say mid-20s. And I was a hotline, like a suicide hotline and a rape hotline and what they call SART. So you would be called out to the hospital when somebody was raped or assaulted or domestic abuse, and I would be called to go to that situation. Or I would just be on the hotline providing support during that crisis. So I had done that for about 2 years, and that's something I've it's in my past, but it's not of my past, meaning it's just like some tools that were leading me towards this healing realm. And so fast forward, last week I was driving and I was coming up on this bridge that overlooks it's not a very deep water reservoir. There's boats that boat in it, but it's not that deep. And it's in the part where the bridge is no wake, right? So you can't go that fast. You can't jump. Obviously, no jumping. And I saw this guy leaning over the bridge. And I'm just going to model what he was doing because I'm watching him and I'm knowing in my mind's eye, this is not normal. This is not something that happens on this bridge. I've gone over this bridge so many times. You kind of know what people don't linger on this particular bridge. And he was leaning, he was looking, he was pierced, he's like this. And I'm watching him as I'm driving over the bridge, right? And I know intuitively this is a dangerous situation. This man is definitely, at first I thought, maybe he's looking for his friend. But again, this is not a very public area. So it would be an unusual thing for him to be communicating with his friend on the bottom there. And he also did not have an appearance that he was from the area. Because otherwise he would have known that's not a good bridge to jump off of. Because if you're going to jump, you're probably going to get really badly injured, not necessarily die. But I could see so these are all the intuitive hits that I got. And so I'm watching him and I'm watching him. And as I'm watching him and I'm going past him, I see him get up to stand to jump off of the bridge. And so now I know I'm assessing the situation like, do I call the police? Do I go intervene? Because obviously I'm skilled in how to, I've helped many people who are suicidal over the years. And that's a very big crisis for the person in that situation, right? And so I was trying to assess, and so I just had a conversation with his spirit in the split second. And I'm stopped now at the light and I'm looking at him. And as I'm talking to his spirit, he's like going to jump, and he had now both feet on the other side of the bridge. And he's thinking, right? This whole time I'm watching him, and this is moments. This is not like 5 minutes. This is like a couple minutes, maybe max 2-3 minutes that all this is transpiring. And he's getting ready to jump, and I'm communing with his spirit. And then all of a sudden, like that, this guy gets off. He gets off the bridge and starts walking down the bridge. And I thought, wow. I said a prayer. I'm going to cry now. Said a prayer for him. And then I cried because I knew what he was going to do. I felt like I had a knowing of his experience. And I said this prayer, and I wish I would have written it down. It was just so beautiful what came out of my mouth. And I saw him walking, and so then I called 911, and I reported him because I wanted somebody to do a wellness check on him, and I didn't feel like in that moment that was the place for me to do it. And he walks down the bridge, and then I move on, and here I am a week later, and the situation is still very present in my awareness, and I'm sharing it with you because, we don't always have to do something to be in support of others. Sometimes just being so present with somebody in their depths of sadness and despair, could change the situation, is what I was learning. And I was also just very grateful that in that moment, at that time in my life, that I was the one that was going across the bridge witnessing and honoring him. And so grateful, one, that I didn't see him jump, because that would have been really tragic. Not because I think he would have died. I think he would have been injured. And it would have been a different scenario than I think that he was thinking it would be. Because when we're in our thinking, we're not thinking clearly. Y'all, stop thinking. Our thoughts are not always in alignment with our heart. And that's really where we need to start to move towards. Because when people are in fear, when we are making decisions out of the past, when we're making decisions out of fear, when we're making our decisions out of our woundedness, it changes how we choose. So when you are taking a moment to get present in your heart and choosing to be intentional with your life, intentional with your choice, you change the trajectory of your life. Literally. There's no doubt about it. When I made the decision to live my life more fully and to grieve differently, that made it possible for me to even continue a relationship with my husband, who is now my husband. At the time, we were just dating. And had I chosen to take a year to grieve, that would have been a nightmare. Who the hell wants to date somebody who's in grief? Somebody who's in lower frequency is who. And I didn't want that for myself. I didn't want that to be the way that I honored my mother. I didn't think that that would be a good way for me to honor her. And so I chose differently. And so my offer to you all is to use your life as a series of choices that you continue to choose differently than what you've done in the past. If you've made decisions in the past that felt good and you want to keep doing that, that's totally up to you. But if you want to live more fully, you're going to have to choose differently. Okay, hold on. I have 1 second here. Mick, I'm a deep thinking person, but I'm working on not being stuck in my thought process. Well, okay, that's a really honest Mick, and I appreciate that because I'm very analytical too. One of my favorite things to do is I love to just have deep conversations. Obviously, I spent all last year having them with you all. But to what end? To what end? Sometimes we can roll over our thoughts repeatedly, and it becomes a loop, a never-ending loop of thoughts without meaning, thoughts without progress, thoughts without movement of the heart, which is what we're here to do, is to be in alignment with our heart, to choose in alignment, right? We don't want to choose just because I want this. Oh, that brings me to my next point, which is, now I lost it. To choose in alignment. What was it? I forgot what I was going to say now. It came in and went right back out. Oh, yes. Okay. To choose based on wants, based on what you see on social media, to choose based on what you think other people are doing or what you think you should be doing is different than choosing in alignment with your heart. So, Mick, what I would offer to you is to learn to listen from the heart, because the thoughts will have a different frequency than your heart frequency. So when you're thinking, listen from your heart and see the quality of your thoughts shift and change. But I find that high quality questions, and I'm thinking about, I don't think I'm going to do a book, but I think I want to put out like those little cards, that have, that open you up spiritually and consciously. Not questions like, I kind of laugh at this, but there's a group of churches that put out these bands that say, what would Christ do? Not that kind of question. Because we have thoughts and our ideas about what we've been conditioned to think Christ is. Christ is a consciousness. It's not a person. And it's not about doing what Christ would do. It's about being in alignment with Christ consciousness, which is a different vibration than what you might think a person who is Christ-like would do. So our thoughts get in the way. So what I would suggest is, invite yourself to listen to your heart and see how the quality of your thoughts change. Because they will absolutely change. But I was thinking about doing those cards that just have open-ended questions where you can ponder and actually go into action. Hey, Brown, good to see you. I think oftentimes thoughts and thinking and the thinking process can keep us from going into action, keep us from being in life, keep us from choosing, right? Because we don't want to make the wrong choice. Oh, what's the point if we're not going to make a choice? And this is me, okay? This is me. I'm talking, so I'm. What's the point of going through all that thought process and getting stuck in the thought process if it takes us out of being in life? Like, choose to live more fully every single day. What does that mean for you, Mick? What it means for you and what it means to me, for me, might be totally different. Totally different. Anyways, what are you guys thinking? What is going on your end? There's just a handful of friends here, so it's so good to see you. Sometimes when I try to listen to my heart, I get emotional. Beautiful. Beautiful. The heart is feeling. It's the doorway into so many things that are cosmic, that are wounds. It's where healing really happens is in our heart portal. So the fact that you get emotional isn't a bad thing. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. So when our emotions are out of balance, meaning unprocessed, we can feel, like I feel really quickly. I've always been emotional, unknown, but not, I mean, what does it mean to be emotional? It can mean you're unbalanced. It could mean you're right in tune with the environment in which you're in. You know, I used to cry really easily as a teenager. Like if something hurt, I would cry. And you know, that's a gift, unknown. That's a gift. Your heart is giving you a gift. Receive. 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 Hello, Christ might. Cute. Or human. Did I miss that? Yeah, feeling is human. Let's not, Mick is saying that, you know, a lot of people have turned off their feelings. I think that's what you're saying there, Mick. And oftentimes when we have shut down our emotions, we might get overwhelmed with emotion too, easily. But that doesn't mean that you have to allow those emotions to bring you down. It's very important that you have choices in how you're feeling. Eric, you're still here. So good to see you. What's this number 2? I don't know what that means. It says Eric number 2. Oh, unknown, your number. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I don't know all of the YouTube stuff. I did get over 2,000 people following me, so I was super happy. But when I don't come on here, it seems like they don't, people unfollow. So that's what happens. Mick says, I agree with you. Well, thanks, Mick. I feel better now. I'm not alone. See, we're not alone. Oh, it's a top fan. Oh, I have fans. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, awesome. Well, thanks, you guys. I'm learning. You guys are helping me learn this YouTube stuff. When I got to 2,500, I think, people following me, it allows you to have different access within YouTube that I have yet to learn. But I got that at the end of last year. And now, and I haven't chosen to come back. So I want to come back. I just want it to be more meaningful for me in what I'm sharing. If you click on that crown, you can see the numbers. I see the numbers now. Yeah, that's new from this live. So life is choice. It's a series of choices, and every single day we have a choice. How you get up, what's your morning routine? That's a choice. I get up, I've changed my morning routine since I've gotten back. So let's just talk about this. I went on vacation, I came back, and my energies changed significantly. So I had to change how I was doing things. One of the things that I changed upon coming back, I made a couple things that I've been doing. One, I decided I wanted to continue some things I had started before I left. Two, I changed my morning routine and I started massaging my feet in the morning and putting oil on my feet and basically anointing is the word, my path, so that I am consciously choosing that the path before me is blessed. And I doing that every morning. I also swish every morning. I'm putting oils in my mouth and swishing. So it's just different things that you can do in the morning. The first thing I do always is check my field. That's what I do. But your routines are choices. So you don't have to continue with the same routines that you've always done when you've changed. So I knew I had gone on vacation. I had changed. I knew there were certain things that I wanted to or basically get a reset on. And it's not because things weren't going good before I left. It's just that I've changed. So I changed my routines. And you could do that too by making conscious choice. Every day choosing to do something different. Choosing to do my clients, the sessions that I have with spirits differently. Always looking to see what is needed for this session with this person, because not everybody is the same. We're all different and we have different needs. And if I were to do the same thing with every single person that books a session with me, then that wouldn't be very effective, now would it? Okay, let's see. Oh, thank you, Marjorie. It's so good to see you. Oliver is the 5th top fan. Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Oliver is actually, he has admin, so he's helping. Thank you, Oliver. Thank you all for being here for this topic of life is choice. I think, oftentimes, and this probably is what I should have started the session with, but I'm going to end it with this. A lot of people think that, they need to find their purpose and they need to figure things out a particular way. But if we just simplify things and look at life as being a series of choices, we don't have to get mired down with not knowing and focusing. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm going to do. We don't have to do it that way. Just knowing that your life is a life of, hey, Tammy, good to see you, friend. Just knowing that our life is about choices, and that is the purpose, to make higher quality choices that change the trajectory of our evolution. It doesn't get much more simpler than that. But when we continue to choose those things that weigh us down over and over and over again, that's a choice. If you are choosing to suffer because you didn't like how somebody reacted to you or responded to you, that's choice. If you don't want to look at what they are reflecting back to you, what they are mirroring back to you, what your learning is. I mean, that's the first thing I did when I saw that guy on the bridge, when I got some semblance of where I can write and just be with myself. I went to go check to make sure I learned everything I needed to learn from that situation, because I'm changing, right? And as I'm changing, my lessons change. So how we are honoring ourselves in our choices is important. And that's, again, why I changed my morning routine. Not because I wanted to add another thing into my morning routine, but what an honor it is to be able to honor my body in a particular way, Correct. Dolan Trump is a choice. I think it's Donald. Is he a choice? That's a collective choice as I see it. That's collective consciousness right there. Because when you really look at the political system and you look around the world, and I don't want to get into politics, this isn't about the person, this is about the collective consciousness. You have to see that it doesn't make sense, right? You have to see that the people that are in quote unquote positions of power. Hey Zoya, how are you doing, friend? Is your health? How are you doing? Thinking of you. Sending you lots of love, Zoya. Our collective consciousness is another thing. So that's why it's like so many people think it's just about them. But no, we are a collective consciousness. We are all one. And so our changes influence the whole. And clearly, we have some work to do, y'all. We have some waking up to do because there's no way if we were awake that we would be making collectively the choices that are happening. There's no way. Because these people who are not in touch with humanity, the humanity of the earth, the humanity of people, the choices wouldn't be the same. Oh, good, Zoya. I thought I remembered that there was a challenge, so I'm glad to hear you're doing good. I was just kind of wrapping up here talking about life as a choice, a series of choices that we make every day. Any questions or thoughts or ideas that you guys would want to share with me before I get off of here? Just going to wait a moment to see if anybody has anything you want to share before we close. Kiannaa, I need to detox myself. How can I do it without taking any leave? Well, first unknown, what I would say is make a choice. Make a choice to do something small every day. I would start with detoxing. Let me see. What is the simplest way to begin a detox process? It's with the choices that you're making to nourish your body. So I would start there. And that does not require taking any leave at all, that you could do that consciously with what you're choosing to nourish your body with. Oliver is asking, when are we going to see you again? Oh, gosh. I don't know. Today's Tuesday, maybe Thursday. How about Thursday? Detox body and mind. Well, when you're consciously choosing your food and how you're going to nourish your body, those go hand in hand, right? Marjorie's saying water. Sleep, good one. Sleep is a good one. A lot of people aren't getting quality sleep. I can sleep still. I get my cursory 12 hours at least once a month. I'll sleep for 12 to 15 hours. It's a pattern my body has done for years, and I actually love it. I'll go to bed so early before the sun even goes down, and I just enjoy it. Be away from thoughts. Well, your thoughts are like your heart. They keep pumping, right? So your thoughts, that's why people meditate. So they can slow their thoughts. Be away from, but just being present to your heart will change how the pace of your thoughts. 15 hours of sleep. Yeah, that's not possible for a lot of people. I feel like it's a gift. It's a gift. Sleep is sacred. We do a lot of work in our sleep, yes. I do anyways. I always set an intention before I go to sleep. I review the day and I go over my day and I look for what were the high points of my day, and then I set my intention for my sleep time. Again, that's a choice. The routine that you do before you go to sleep. I have not felt compelled to change that. Although when we were on vacation, I did it at different times, but I still had my routine. I really enjoy, and if I'm with a group of people, we'll all talk about our highs of the day. And it's always a nice moment to connect. If I'm having a dinner with a group of friends that are open to sharing, I always like to ask what their high of the day is. My husband and I, we have a routine of doing that every day. And I track mine. I don't think you have to, but I do. I like to see, I do a review of the month, and then I like to see, you know, what percolates, because life is so busy, we forget what's going on. Oh, I see the top fans here thing now. All right. Thanks, y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be with me to discuss this topic about life being about choice and beginning to look at how we can operate on a daily basis in more conscious choice. And thank you for your time, your energy, your comments, you're taking time to be with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye. Have a great day. Thank you.